small chamber organization that really likes connecting Baroque music or new music or earlier music to current themes. How can we look at the past to change the present?
By definition, Baroque music is music from the 17th century and also the first half of the 18th century. Music that is written in a style during those time periods by composers generally in Western Europe, but we've tried to expand that. We've been hiring composers every year who will write a new piece for us, so a contemporary composer writing music for Baroque instruments. Mm-hmm. We've also expanded back and looked at some medieval and some Renaissance pieces as well, so the pieces from earlier eras.
Audiences can expect to dive into the characters that we talk about and put themselves in their shoes and ask, is that what they would have done? What might they have done differently? And how is it similar to their lives right now?
I think they can also expect to have maybe somewhat non-standard or non-traditional concert programming. Rather than picking a composer or a time period or a country, I work to pick a theme that's connected to some kind of relevant social issue, and then I pick pieces that go into that theme. So the programming comes from a different angle, and so it's not your sort of standard, maybe boring concert programming, but I try to make it very engaging.
Whose name was Kate McPhee.
I think it's really important that the Me Too movement has brought out in society right now is that it's given a voice to people who didn't previously have a voice or who didn't previously have agency, and it's given them a platform for sharing their stories, which kind of leads into our programming for March, which is called The Other Side of the Story. And it's giving a voice to composers and to issues that, or perspectives that are not often told.
It's the defining issue of our day right now. I think it affects every person on this planet, not just women, that we start looking at lines of consent and respect and identifying where those lines are crossed that we don't realize. And finally, that it's going to change the world by talking to young people about it today.
I've been doing a lot of research recently just on song texts from the 17th and 18th centuries. And when you read through these texts, the issues that are being discussed in the songs are actually not really any different from a lot of the stories that you hear today, which is in some ways not surprising and in other ways very sad to think that we as a society have not moved forward. So if you take old music or old stories and you frame them in a way that can help people to see how they're actually really the same stories that we're still telling, I think it's a more powerful message and can be a good catalyst towards starting a dialogue.
I really hope that people start realizing the power that they have to change the world and to change young people's lives.
Yeah, I didn't actually hear the word consent until I was going to graduate school for the second time. And we did Title IX training as incoming student orientation, and that was just, I mean, it was not language or terminology that had ever been used in any of my education prior, and it was this really eye-opening experience of like, wow, the world is actually maybe changing and maybe moving forward. Like it made perfect sense to me, and it was really, like, I was like, oh wow, finally. But it was something that hadn't been talked about at all previously in any of my educational training, and I was 26 or 27 years old before I heard the word consent used in that kind of way.
We're really excited that Erin Grad and Jennifer Bullis have collaborated to write us a new piece. So we're going to do that a bunch of times in March, and Jennifer wrote this incredible libretto that tells the sirens side of the story. Who's ever heard of the sirens side of the story in mythology? And it's a very contemporary theme. You know, it's things that have happened to my friends today.
We also have a lot of works by women or that are about women in some kind of way to kind of highlight giving voice and agency to people who didn't really have a lot of voice or agency in their own time. So actually we have a Vivaldi cello sonata on the program, and Vivaldi worked at an orphanage in Venice, and it was an orphanage for girls. So most of Vivaldi's works, which are very famous today, were all premiered by women, which is something that no one really thinks about. But because women weren't allowed, especially to play the cello, because it was obscene to hold an instrument between your legs at that time, all of these pieces were premiered behind screens for male audiences, but premiered by women who had to perform behind a screen. So we're doing one of Vivaldi's cello sonatas, and also a flute sonata by a composer named Anna Bahn. She was a Russian and German composer. She wrote a set of sonatas whenever she was 14 years old. They're really incredible. And then I have some harpsichord music by that was from a collection of a woman in France named Marie-Françoise Sertien. And she was apparently a really skilled harpsichordist, but she had to perform only in her home. She couldn't perform in public because she was a woman. And then we have another Jacques de la Guerre cantata, the Judith cantata, out of the same collection as the Suzanne that we did last night. And that cantata, Judith, the book of Judith is excluded from most canonical versions of the Bible. So we're trying to give voice and agency to people whose perspectives have been previously not given any kind of credence in history.